Let's ask the panel about things that perhaps affect people closer to home. Mary, having heard Michael Gove there, is there anything that you think can stop the strikes going ahead?
No, I'm afraid not. The government has just failed to engage with unions representing teachers. We've had no negotiations.
No negotiations? Because Michael Gove said Gillian Keegan, the Education Secretary, is attentive, and she's warm, she's looking for solutions, she's trying to be helpful.
Well, I'm very glad she's warm, but she's not come to the table with any more money for teachers this year. The government's delayed its evidence to the pay review body, which would say what was affordable for next year. It should have been published on Friday. It's not been published. We think the only reason for that is because what they are prepared to offer is so unacceptable, they don't want to put it forward.
But do you acknowledge, though, and for families watching this morning, that going on strike is going to cause terrible disruption to parents, to pupils who've already lost out on more than 60 days of their education? Is this really the best thing to do for them?
Well, it's not the best thing to do, and we don't want to do it.
Well, why are you doing it then? Because there are two other teaching unions that aren't going out on strike.
Well, they didn't meet the thresholds. They all balloted. They all wanted to take industrial action. It's only the National Education Union that met the government's very high thresholds for taking action. And no teacher leaves their classroom and their pupils easily or wanting to do it. They are doing this because they are desperate, because they have seen their pay decline virtually more than any other profession over the last 10 years. And just to give you one example, I'll be quick, but we are seeing a workforce crisis in our schools. And so, yes, this strike is awful because, it's awful for parents and for pupils because they'll miss a day's schooling. But what's happening every day in schools is awful because we do not have enough teachers.
Catherine, what do you say to that? So I know you also think that there are lots of problems in the education system, but you believe that money isn't the answer. What do you say to Mary?
Well, look, I'm a head teacher. I'll never say no to more money, but I do think that it's more complex. I think, for instance, about our Year 11 and Year 13 children. Last year, up to a third of GCSE exam content was cut with the understanding that we'd just been through COVID and that those children had been affected. The children going through this year are affected in the same way. It's just that it happened when they were in Year 10 and when they were in Year 12, and yet no changes have been made at all to their exams. And now we're striking. It worries me. I worry about the families. I think about our families who have moved from insecure job to insecure job, part-time, trying to find something, because during COVID, of course, they were hit hard and they don't work for the public sector. Having said all of that, I think teachers have cause. I understand it is really hard for teachers. But, and while, Mary has good points about pay and so on, I don't disagree with that. I do think that the things that we need to be fighting for in education are better behaviour and less bureaucracy. Behaviour and bureaucracy are the two main reasons why we have a crisis in terms
Mary,
of the
workforce.
workforce.
You're shaking your head.
Yeah, I mean, I've written a book about the bureaucracy about teachers. It's more than just bureaucracy. It's about intensive workload and about inappropriate accountability measures. But so yes, workload and bureaucracy, absolutely key. But when you see that teachers have lost 23% of their average pay over the last 12 years, and that when you see that all public bodies saying that teaching is becoming unattractive, when you see that every day children are being taught by teachers who are not qualified in their subject area, or being taught by learning support assistants because schools cannot recruit teachers.
But Mary,
and parents will know that's happening every day to their children.
Mary used the figure of a 23% pay cut in real terms. Other people use a far lower figure
yes,
than
other
that.
people
I'm not
use
disputing that there are real terms cuts,
absolutely.
but also there is an important point there that not everybody would accept your numbers on that. So